morning. My name is Josh Lundahl, and I'm a school social worker with Ankeny Community Schools. I work here at Prairie Ridge Middle School and at Parkview Middle School as well. About a month ago, Ms. James and I did a talk for parents about building resilient students. We talked a lot about anxiety and stress management. We just want to put this out today to you and kind of see what we can do to help share some news with families. I'll turn it over to Emily quick to introduce herself.
I'm Emily James. I'm one of the school counselors at Prairie Ridge Middle School that works with our wonderful social worker.
So today, once again, like I said, we were talking about building resilient students in the middle school level. One of the big things that we see is a lot of our students at times can deal with a lot of stress and pressure from school, sports, family, all of those things. So our job is many times to help support them within this environment. So one of the things we want to do is say, hey parents, we're here to help, and if you need us, this is how you contact us. And these are some things that we've just kind of learned from doing this work. What we'll cover is just what anxiety and stress is, some prevention strategies, as well as teaching maybe some healthy habits and what healthy habits can help maybe lower those stress and that anxiety, better ways to cope, and then maybe some resources that you can try at home. Anxiety is a feeling of worry or nervousness or unease, typically about an imminent event or something with an uncertain outcome. A desire to do something different, typically accompanied by that unease. Stress is more of a state of mental or emotional strain or tension resulting from adverse or very demanding circumstances. So what we see from students is they have a lot of stress that kind of builds up, day-to-day stress, homework, tests, friends, sports, all those things can kind of build up. So sometimes that becomes a little bit more difficult for them to manage, and they have some more anxious feelings. So once again, we're here to help support them and get through that. Ms. James, anything about stress and anxiety you'd like to share?
I think I share with students that it's very common that they're not alone. They're not the only 6th grade or 7th grader that is experiencing both stress and anxiety. And that it's going to happen throughout their lives, well into their adult life. And so if we can give them the resources and the tools to help them work through their anxiety, then I feel we've been successful versus trying to help them completely eliminate stress and anxiety from their lives.
Right, and knowing that it's common and knowing that most kids are going to experience that, it's also not always a diagnosable or an issue that we have to go beyond maybe a school or so. It's really just developing some skills so we can manage. Right. Parents, we'd also like to talk to you about prevention. One of the big things in preventing stress and anxiety is, as parents, what we can do is help with what those expectations we have for our children are. Many times we have high expectations, and that's okay. We want them to do well in school. We want them to do well in the things that they try and they practice and they do. But we need to make sure that that's developmentally appropriate as well. We're not going to be a paid athlete tomorrow. We don't expect them to get 36 on their ACT tomorrow. But we expect them to learn and get better. So holding them to those, to a certain level of expectations is good, but also developmentally appropriate. One of the big things we talk to families about is allowing and encouraging failure. One of the big things that we see is a lot of our students have so much success or have success in school or success in sports that they haven't learned how to fail. Failing is an important part of life. It's something that we can learn from, and typically we do learn from. Many times if we don't have the skills or we haven't practiced that, when we get older, it's harder for us to kind of manage that. So we see that with middle schoolers that have had a lot of success in the younger grades with sports and with academics, and then they have a class that's really tough and they start to struggle. That can be really difficult if I haven't learned how to fail, how to have some struggles. Other struggles that we see is struggles with perfectionism. Students that really just want to do everything right. Once again, this goes back to knowing it's okay to fail. more times than not in our lives, we're going to struggle. We're going to struggle with a job. We're going to struggle with a class. We're going to struggle with some different things. And knowing how to cope with that and having the tools to cope with that is the most important thing. Also, a big piece is focus on effort, not results. As parents, and as a parent myself, I realize we're always looking for certain results, whether it be the grade, whether it be the outcome of a game. The important thing for us to really focus on at this age is the effort that they put in. That, in the end, is going to dictate results many times in life. But if we focus on that and rather than the results, we'll really see kids become more comfortable and more willing to push themselves, in knowing that they have some level of control in that. They have the level of control of their effort. We don't always have the level of control with results. So that's also a big thing that we talk about when it comes to prevention and parenting.
One thing I would add to about failure is not only to encourage it, but to normalize it. Everyone fails, and we all make mistakes. It's not about the failure itself, but more so about how do we recover from that? How do we move on? What do we learn from our failure or our mistake? And how do we prevent that from happening again? If it was an undesirable outcome, we don't want to do that again. So what can we do next time in the same situation where we get frustrated or something happens that we don't like to handle the situation differently? Are we growing from that failure? And again, making sure that they know everyone fails, everyone makes mistakes, and it's going to be okay. We will move on.
Perfect. Another thing we like to talk about is just healthy habits in general. Healthy habits in general have become one of those things that we know is an effective tool when managing stress and anxiety, but we don't always think about them day to day. So big things: eating, not fast food daily, having a well-rounded diet. That can be very helpful. Sleep is so important. Some of the biggest struggles I see with students right now is just not getting enough sleep. At this age, it is appropriate for them to sleep 9 to 11 hours. That is an appropriate recommended amount of time. We see students that stay up late, get up early. It really wears on them a lot differently than it does an adult. So very important for them to get those hours of sleep. Also, exercise. Exercise is a huge mechanism to help us and our body and our mind become healthier. The endorphins that are released when we exercise, such an important part of our day. So really, an hour a day is very appropriate for students at this age. Another thing with healthy habits is sports. I'm a big one in this. As a hockey coach myself, sports are to be fun at this age. They are to be a healthy environment. They're supposed to be encouraging. So just remember, sports are important, they are fun, but let's not take them too seriously.
One of the other things that we wanted to talk to you about was how to manage our stress. Everyone is going to experience stress, like I said earlier. And so kids typically show us that they are stressed or anxious through their behavior and not through their words. Oftentimes they haven't quite learned how to communicate exactly what they're feeling. They don't have the vocabulary for it. And so they will be, kind of crabby when they're hungry or when they're tired or when something frustrates them or when they want to leave their classroom because they didn't like something that the teacher said or someone said. So what we need to watch for is a change in their eating habits, their sleeping habits. If they stop hanging out with the typical group of friends that you're used to seeing around your house or in the neighborhood or hearing about at school, or even if they're avoiding you or your family, siblings or even pets, they will show you what's going on with them or if they need attention from you in a different way, just simply by little changes here and there in how they act.
Developmentally just not great with words sometimes.
Yeah. So some exercises that we wanted to give you to try with your students are to help them kind of calm down, include grounding techniques, muscle tightening, and using different breathing strategies. So on your screen, you should see 5 sense grounding. So this is just using your five senses to ground your student and even yourselves as an adult to the moment and what's going on. It's kind of a mindful practice, which is one of those buzzwords out there right now, mindfulness. So you are simply going to have them sit down and identify, or maybe they're laying in their bed, what is around them. What can you see, taste, touch, feel, hear? So if I can't sleep at night and I'm laying in my bed, I'm going to go through my senses. I feel my sheets. My head is on my pillow. I know that my dog in my bedroom is off to my left-hand side and his dog bed on the floor. I know that I can hear my fan. You know, I can't see anything because it's dark, but I know I can kind of picture the layout of my bedroom. So something to get your student grounded in the moment and saying to themselves, okay, it's time for bed. Many families are familiar with the book Goodnight Moon, I believe is what it's called, that was read to me. That is a grounding book where you're going around and saying goodnight to everything and kind of telling our brain and our body, okay, my job now is to fall asleep. Also on your screen you see muscle tightening. There are lots of YouTube videos or apps that you can use that will have you start at your head and tighten your muscle groups for a few seconds at a time as you work your way down to your feet. Really great strategy. You could even do this, you don't have to have an app. You could start and tell them that they need to try to tighten their jaw and their teeth and everything, and then work down to their neck and their shoulders, arms, abdomen, so on and so forth. Also on your screen you see square breathing and lazy 8 breathing. So this is where they can use their finger to create a square, or they can use their finger to follow kind of what looks like a racetrack for breathing. And so you would breathe in for the square breathing, breathe in for 4 counts, and I kind of like to snap along with them like a metronome, and then have them hold their breath for 4, breathe out for 4, and then hold the breath and breathe in, keep going. Same thing with lazy 8, start in the middle of the 8 or the racetrack and follow the track around. Also on your screen you're now going to see apps that I really like that we promote here at Prairie Ridge. The first one is Stop, Breathe, and Think. They have 2 apps for this. One is directed for younger elementary kids, and again it has mindfulness kind of activities that they can listen to, guided meditation. Stop, Breathe, Think. The older version is for anyone that's kind of at the 6th, 7th grade level all the way up through adults. If you are an educator, it also comes with a free pro version that you can sign up for, which is really nice. I like it the most because it is free to download for both Apple and Android, and it does have in-app purchases, but there's not as many as some of the other apps. So there's tons of free stuff that students can use. I direct a lot of students and their families to use it right before bed if their students are having trouble falling asleep. And then you also see Calm and Headspace, which are both free to download as well. But both also have in-app purchases. Headspace has more in-app purchases than the other ones that can sometimes get us in trouble if your child's cell phone is linked to your Apple iTunes account. You might not know what they're downloading, so that's kind of why I push more the Stop, Breathe, Think one, because it does have more free features for students to access, and it will actually log all of their entries. So they can kind of track, like, oh, last week I was more stressed out than this week, which is really a cool feature for me and for students to look at.
So now, just resources. One of the big things, and the reason we're doing this is because we want you to know who we are, and we are here to help you and your student. Once again, we work with families, we work with students individually, we do small groups. There's a lot of things we do in the school environment to help support children and families so they can be successful. So please reach out to myself. My name is Josh Lundahl, once again, one of our 3 school counselors. We also have student support and EFR. We also have LifeWorks, an outside company that comes in for a fee and works with families as well. So please feel free, reach out to us at any time. We're here to support you. Thank you.
Thank you.